Hi, Lynn.
How are you?
It is so great to have you here at the Renaissance Center.
This is a great place. I'm so surprised to find a place this gorgeous out in Dixon, Tennessee.
How about that?
Perfect.
Well, the buzz has been quite rampant this past week. Lynn Anderson's coming, Lynn Anderson's coming. So we're very glad to have you.
Thanks. I've talked to several people who have done videos and so on out here in concerts, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, just what are we going to get to see tonight at your performance?
Well, basically, I've never done a video before. I've never done a video. My hits were beginning in the 60s, into the 70s.
When you didn't see the artist, you were just on the radio.
I did a lot of television with everything from Lawrence Welk to Dean Martin and Bob Hope, all those shows, but it was before the video came out. So by the mid-80s, basically the only big hit I had in the 80s was a duet with Gary Morris called You're Welcome to Tonight.
And that was so beautiful.
Oh, but I don't have Gary tonight.
Right.
Dang it. So, but Under the Boardwalk was in the 80s, but my record company decided not to do a video. So we're going to do that tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and we've got a little special treatment of Under the Boardwalk. So this will be fun.
Oh, that'll be great.
But I'm looking forward to this because this is the first time we've been able to put video with the music.
And you know what? It's interesting that you're doing that because, you know, some of the stars, that's all they do. It's like they're the ones that, you know, they make it because they've made this big image. Well, I remember, and I don't want to embarrass you, but when I was a kid watching you on TV, and I do remember those Lawrence Welk days,
Yeah.
that I thought, she's like the Barbie doll of country music. And you still are.
I hadn't heard that one before.
And I would say that
Barbie
you were
doll.
probably the most beautiful country female artist out there. I'm serious. And I think there was a lot of women that would love to have attained to your stature.
Well,
you know.
I appreciate it.
And had videos been popular back then, hey.
Well, you know what? We did the summer replacement show for Dean Martin for 2 years.
What was that like?
It was great. It was co-hosted by me, Ray Stevens, and Jerry Reed.
Oh, my goodness.
So we shot a lot of footage out. We did Rocky Top on the top of Lookout Mountain in Chattanooga, you know. Perfect. But it wasn't like a video. There wasn't VH1 or CMT or GAC. So they didn't really have an outlet to show just one song on a video. Now things are different. So I'm so looking forward to this.
Now, you have done Cry as part of one of your albums. Didn't you do some kind of video with Cry?
And with this new CD release.
I see.
With this new thing, I did Cry like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
So that's the first official video like they shot in the studio.
Wow.
It's crazy because they did me just kind of close up, the face.
That's a good shot there.
Yeah, and then they laid in, it goes from my face to like Liz Taylor. You know, and it's this old movie. I'm going, where's that from? Because, you know, I have no idea what the video or what the movie was with Elizabeth Taylor, but it's like, oh, cool. Me, Liz, yeah.
Now, Lynn, I think if I recall correctly, Rocky Top was made first a hit by you.
Well, actually, not.
Is that not true?
No, it was first recorded by the Osborne brothers, who are a very traditional bluegrass duo, who's been on the Opry for a long, long time, and they had the first version of it.
It didn't become a hit.
Well, it was a regional hit because it was so bluegrass. I mean, you know, the times have changed, and back then, they wouldn't play their record in L.A. or Chicago or Dallas, you know. So here comes this little teenager from California, and I loved the song, and thank the Lord I did it because this was the thing that kind of finally got me accepted in Nashville. They thought of me as this teenager from California, the Lawrence Welk show, trying to sneak into Nashville, you know. But when I did Rocky Top, they actually accepted me as kind of one of the family, you know. And my record was the first one that actually, you know, made it to the top 10 on the national charts. So I'm very proud of it. I share the credit with the Osborne brothers, however, because theirs was the first, but mine was the chart record. And I love this record. I love redoing it.
Well, great. And we're going to get to hear that again tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Rose Garden, that was a hit back in 1970. That is your only number one. Is that correct? Did you have some more number ones?
No. You know what? That's the thing. People, like I said, I was the teenager from California, and people go, oh, gee, well, that was your first hit?
And you're forever recognized by
Yeah, I had several hit records before Rose Garden. Thank God, okay? Because I was saying to you backstage earlier, a lot of people come out now who are one-hit wonders.
Right.
And I was lucky in the fact that I had several records like Ride, 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 and, you know, If I Kiss You, Will You Go Away, and those kind of things that were not in the pop charts, but they were certainly in the country charts. And Rose Garden was the first pop hit.
There you go.
It was the first #1 pop hit.
Okay.
But I had a lot of records before. So I was able, when Rose Garden came out, to be able to work a show and not just stand up there and sing Rose Garden 10 times. You know, I mean, I'm so glad that I'm in the business now and started where I started, rather than coming into the business like some of the new gals. And I'm going to use Gretchen Wilson just as an example, because I totally love her record, you know, redneck woman, I know, high class broad. You know, I love that. But, I mean, if you got one hit record out there, how do you do an hour on stage? It's so tough.
You have to do cover tunes.
Exactly. So, I mean, she writes her own stuff, but actually I'm really glad that I've had a cross-section of songs that are different in style. You know, we go all the way from kind of pop-tinged stuff like Cry. Obviously, Rose Garden was a pop hit. I don't consider it a pop song. I think it's a country song that crossed over. Top of the World was #1 pop and country. Mine was #1 country. Karen Carpenter's got to be #1 pop. You know, but it was Country Song of the Year in the Grammy Awards. So mine has kind of gone the whole gamut of, you know, pop, country, bluegrass, a little bit of everything.
Well, are you one of the original crossover artists?
Actually, yeah. Oh, so glad you asked.
I'm glad I did too. Tell me about it.
No, I mean, back in the day, you know, it was like Rose Garden was one of the very first. There had been, of course, Patsy Cline had Crazy, and Jim Reeves, I think, with He'll Have to Go. There were sporadic hits every 4 or 5 years, you know, by somebody. But Rose Garden kind of really became #1 in the pop charts. Help Me Make It Through the Night by Sammy Smith. Bless you, Sammy. She's been sick. Ray Price for the Good Times. You know, Sunday Morning Coming Down. There was a bunch of records right about that time that kind of opened the doors for crossover country, which has now become pretty much the norm, you know. Back then it was rare.
Now, I want to tell you that I have used your title, Rose Garden, in jokes. You know, it's just like, hey, I never promised you a rose garden,
There you
you know,
go.
and I would sing it, of course.
Yeah.
Well, how did that song come about? Why did you record that song?
Well, being raised by my mother, who's a great songwriter, I was married to Glenn Sutton, who's a great songwriter. My current beau is Mentor Williams, who wrote, "Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away." Anyway, so Glenn was my producer, but I always found songwriter albums. When I was raised, we had the first Willie Nelson album because Mother would study his writing.
As any good songwriter should.
Oh, yeah. We had Bill Anderson, you know, and she would pick apart those songs, you know, and figure out how he wrote them and how he crafted them. And while watching my mother, I kind of learned about the craft of songwriting. And I've always just, you know, just loved the songs themselves. I found an album long ago by Joe South called Introspect. Do you remember songs called like Walk a Mile in My Shoes, Don't It Make You Want to Go Home, Games People Play, you know, and Rose Garden was in there. Now, I kept bringing it to my producer, who was my husband, who said, "You can't sing that song. It's not a girl song. It's like a woman wouldn't buy guys big diamond rings." I could promise you things like big diamond rings. He said, "No, no, no, that's not a woman's song." But we